When a small town in rural Alaska is shaken up by a loud bang coming from the forest, Kevin decides to go on a mission to find out what caused it. This eventually leads him to discovering a mysterious giant rocket that had recently fallen from the sky. This is already bizarre enough, but then Kevin also discovers that there is something inside the rocket, and this discovery would be much more significant than the rocket itself. On top of the giant rocket, Kevin had discovered a small hatch, and he figured he might fit throughout. He debated going in as he figured it could be dangerous, but his curiosity quickly got the better of him and he entered the rocket ship. It was very dark in the rocket ship and Kevin had to use the flashlight on his phone to help him navigate the way. He made his way through narrow spaces and finally found himself in a part of the rocket with a bit more room. And then Kevin saw it. Kevin could not believe his eyes and he was unsure about what he was supposed to do now. But what did Kevin find in the giant rocket? Why was the rocket even here and how did Kevin manage to find it? Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. When a small town in rural Alaska got shaken up by a loud explosion coming from deep in the forest one night, people were curious as to whatever caused this, but also too fearful to go and search for the cause. All except for Kevin, who really wanted to find the origin. He knew it was dangerous to go out alone into the forest this time of year, but seeing as nobody was willing to join him, Kevin felt like he had no other choice. After a few days of no news about the origin of the explosion, Kevin made up his mind and started preparing for the expedition. But he knew he probably had to go deeper into the forest than ever before to find what he was looking for. Kevin organized a week-long trip to find out what caused this loud noise. He prepared his equipment, and he started meandering the next morning. On the fourth day of his trip, something good happened to Kevin. After all, he found the first hints. This was really important because from that moment it was going to be easiest to find out what caused the noise. He misstepped on random metal parts being scattered all over the forest and some were even hanging from the trees. Kevin was able to understand that these metal parts weren't too long in this place, as there was no greenery growing over them at all. Kevin was very lucky he found them that moment because probably after a while these parts would be reclaimed by germination. These parts could be the answer to what caused the noise. While he was walking, he found more and more metal parts scattered here and there. He knew that he was closer to the evidence he was looking for all these days. As he walked, suddenly behind the trees his eyes catch something, but it was difficult to see as the sun reflected the object into his eye. Kevin just left like this was what he had been looking for ever since he started his expedition into the forest. Even when he got closer, it was still difficult to make out what he was seeing. All he was sure of was that it was absolutely massive. When he made his way through the final rows of trees, he finally saw it in all its glory. A giant space rocket had come falling out of the sky. He didn't expect to find anything like this, but he was really proud of himself and shocked at the same time. Kevin was so happy when he found out about the space rocket and his heart started racing. He not even in his wildest dreams expected to find a rocket. But this had to have been what caused the explosion found that night. He had finally found the answer. Kevin was now also really curious to explore the rocket, but he had no idea how dangerous it could be for him. After a little thought, he made the decision that it was okay to have a better look at the spaceship since nothing had happened to it after it had crashed down to Earth. It had been here for nearly a week now, and if this thing was set to explode or something for whatever reason, it would have happened by now, he figured. It was a risk Kevin was willing to take, but was it also a risk that Kevin was going to regret? Kevin started to walk all around the spaceship a couple of times. The strangest thing that he noticed was that the spaceship was not as damaged as he thought would be. It had most likely crash-landed in the forest, but most of it was in decent condition. How is that possible? Kevin theorized that maybe the treetops had crushed the fall a bit or that the rocket was built out of such good materials that they could withstand this kind of impact. And then there was another question that kept popping up in the back of Kevin's mind. Kevin wondered if anybody else knew that this rocket was here in the forest. Somebody had to know, right? This thing had to be worth millions of dollars and had only recently landed here. People had to be looking for it. Or people should have found it already. But why did they not mention it to the authorities then? He tried to find clues as to whom it may belong on the rocket's exterior. He looked for the flags of countries or the logos of companies but could find nothing of the sort. After thinking about why this could be the case, and he thinks he has found the reason for it. On parts of the rocket ship there seemed to be burn marks. This rocket must have actually been in space and the heat of re-entering the Earth's atmosphere could have burned off everything on the rocket's exterior. But that still did not explain everything. Kevin was still wondering why this rocket was here specifically. That could not have been the plan, right? It seemed so dangerous to have this crash on land. Did something maybe go wrong? And that is when a real troubling feeling started to creep up on Kevin. Was it possible that somebody was still in there? That they had been sent on a mission to space, but that there was a malfunction or something they crashed? Kevin needed to figure this out, and there was only one way he was going to get answered. He knew that the only way he was going to get these answers was as if he actually managed to get into the rocket ship. This was a lot easier said than done, as it was obvious that nobody was supposed to do this. But after a few workarounds, Kevin managed to find a way to get into the rocket. The rocket was still very much sealed off even after the impact on the ground. But after a bit of closely inspecting the machine, Kevin thought that he might have found the weak point he can exploit. But it was not at a place that he expected it to be. There was a small door near the back of the rocket still closed up, but part of the door had bent open. And it is big enough for Kevin to maybe fit something in it to create leverage and break it open even further. So he started to look for something to get this done. A crowbar would be perfect for this. But of course, Kevin doesn't just have this in his backpack at the moment. He will have to get creative, but luckily he already has an idea of how to get this done. But that idea is not without risk, and Kevin had taken a lot of that already. There is still a lot of wreckage lying around from the crash, so maybe there was something that he could use. Kevin has to find a piece that is long and strong enough to not break when he puts a lot of pressure on it. And it didn't take long before he had it. A long steel pipe fits just about in the bent open part of the hole. Kevin got himself in position and started putting as much weight on the end of the pipe as possible, and bang! Finally, he had a way to get into the rocket. The door broke out of the lock and slammed open. Kevin fell back hard but barely even felt the pain. His curiosity had completely taken over, pushing aside any fear as he focused on what lay inside the rocket ship. Only an hour earlier, Kevin had been wandering through the forest looking for something unusual. Now, standing before a crashed rocket, nerves began to creep in. He wondered briefly if this was a terrible idea, but turning back no longer felt possible. Carefully, he squeezed through the narrow doorpost and entered a cramped shaft leading upward into the rocket. The passage was difficult to navigate. The shaft, likely wider before the impact, had been crushed and twisted, forcing Kevin to crawl slowly forward. Sharp edges jutted from the walls, scraping against his clothes and skin as he moved inch by inch through the darkness. As he crawled, doubt returned. The rocket could be unstable, or worse, dangerous. He had no idea what condition it was in or what might still be functioning inside. Despite the risks, Kevin pressed on, convinced that whatever awaited him at the end of the shaft would provide answers. Eventually, he reached another door. Unlike the first, it was unlocked. Kevin pushed himself through the opening and emerged into a larger compartment. For the first time since entering, he could stand properly. The sight before him left him stunned. The room appeared to be some sort of control center. It was far smaller than he had imagined, with no visible seating and only compact panels lining the walls. The space raised immediate questions. Could a human really have traveled in something this confined? The more Kevin looked around, the less believable that idea became. As he examined the equipment, his curiosity deepened. Nothing suggested long-term human presence. No comforts, no space for movement, just machinery. Kevin began to doubt whether this rocket had ever carried a person at all. Further inspection revealed markings and symbols throughout the compartment, including multiple American flags. He also discovered a nameplate identifying the rocket's model. Kevin realized this information could finally explain what this craft was and why it was here. Reaching for his phone, Kevin quickly noticed there was no signal. The rocket's structure blocked any connection. Knowing he wouldn't remember every detail, he removed the nameplate from the control center as a keepsake and proof of what he had found. Then he carefully made his way back out of the rocket. Once outside, Kevin checked his phone and began searching for information about the rocket. The connection was weak, and pages loaded slowly in the remote Alaskan forest. Eventually, images appeared matching the rocket he had just explored. What he discovered shocked him. The rocket wasn't designed to carry people at all. Its sole purpose was to deploy satellite. No astronaut had ever been meant to sit inside. The interior was only for configuring equipment before launch. Suddenly, everything made sense. As Kevin continued reading, he learned that these rockets often disappeared into the ocean by design, minimizing damage. When one crashed on land, however, the outcome was far more noticeable and dangerous. On his way back to town, Kevin contacted local authorities and reported the rocket's location. They thanked him and assured him the information would be passed along. Though satisfied, Kevin couldn't help wondering if he would ever hear more about the discovery. Days later, Kevin got a call from a representative from the actual US government to ask him if he had been in the rocket. Kevin thought about it, but eventually decided to be honest. He got an answer that he did not expect. This was luckily appreciated and was not a big deal unless he significantly vandalized the rocket. This was not the case, of course, and as a thank you for finding the rocket, Kevin got a decent financial reward as a thank you.